Howdy folks, if you're trying to decide between the R1, the R3, and the R4, this video is for you. I'm Alex, co-founder of HOWL, and we spent the last 6 years designing these campfires. Each one has a specific purpose. Today I'm going to tell you exactly which one you should buy and which one you probably shouldn't. Now, I want you to get the right HOWL for you, and that might not be the most expensive one. So we're going to start with the job that each one is designed to do, and then I'm going to show you how the size, heat, and controls differ on each model to help you do that job. Personally, I use all three. Which one I grab just depends on the trip I'm going on. Now, a lot of you guys don't want to sit through a long video, so here's the quick answer. If you mostly camp in mild weather and portability is your top priority, get the R1. It's our most portable campfire. Now, if you want radiant heat for 3-season camping and space in your rig is tight, buy the R3. It's the world's smallest radiant propane fire pit. And if you camp in all 4 seasons, or you just want the most heat, most control, and most fuel efficiency, get the R4. It's our flagship, and it's the world's hottest propane fire pit. Now, every HOWL is insanely great at something, but none of them is the best at everything. So let's see which one fits you the best. We're going to start with the R1. The whole purpose of the R1 is that it's our warm season campfire. So it's really good for nights down into the 40s. If you're bringing your 40-degree sleeping bag, this is the campfire that you want. So people really buy this thing for 2 reasons. 1, big flames, and 2, this tiny frame. But before we get any deeper, I just want to show you how fast it is to set this up. So if I can get a clock on the screen, and go. So here we go. I'm going to open up the gull wing folding legs, set it on the ground. We're going to take off the dust cap here, and we're going to use our proprietary quick connect one-handed operation. Click that in. I'm going to turn the knob. So just give it a little bit of gas, spark it up, and turn it to high. That felt pretty fast. So here we've got 32-inch tall flames. This is insanely fuel efficient, so you're getting 8 hours on a 20-pound tank with this tall of a flame. Now, if I turn this down just a little bit, we go down to, let's see, about 24 inches. Should be about there. So 24-inch flame will last 13 hours on a tank. That's a lot of fire. That takes you well through a weekend, 3-day weekend, maybe even, full 4-day weekend. So you're really not having to refill your tank too often, and you get just a really phenomenal campfire. So let's talk about what happens after the fire. So we're going to turn our knob to off. We're going to disconnect the quick connect. We're going to replace the dust cover and fold up the legs. Now, can you put this directly into your vehicle right now? Maybe not. If you've been running it for a couple hours, this is probably pretty hot. So you're going to want to give it, 30 to 40 minutes to cool down if it's really hot outside. If it's cool out and you've got wind blowing, honestly, what I typically do, turn it off, go pack the rest of my stuff, and then just throw this in my vehicle. So once you've let it cool, now let's talk about packing it. On the bottom here, we've got these 2 strap lock slots and 4 rubber feet. And those are meant to marry the HOWL to the tank. So we talk about this being the world's most portable campfire, and it's not just because it's super small, but it's because it also makes sure that you have a way to deal with the tank, and it makes the tank more portable. It keeps it from rolling around, right? So how do we do that? You can do this with just a normal motorcycle strap and just run, or cam strap, NRS strap. You run that through 1 strap lock slot around the tank and in here. This is a prototype we're working with, and we may be selling this fairly soon, but with this guy, we're just doing the same idea. So we've got a little brass bracket here, a little hook that hooks into the strap lock slot. We'll do that here as well. And then we can just grab this guy and tighten. So when you have it in that configuration, now you're really stabilizing the whole system. The tank isn't rolling around, the HOWL is really holding that whole system together, and we can even run straps, through the top of the propane tank, through the handle here, and then tie that directly into the tie points of your vehicle. Strap that down and drive as fast as you want. So this is the world's most portable campfire, but there's something it doesn't have: radiant heat. It's necessary if you're going to camp in really gnarly weather, bad conditions, anything like that. So you should buy the R1 if you camp mostly in mild weather. If you want the smallest, tightest, longest running option, this is the one for you. Honestly though, I would skip it if you regularly expect cold nights and want deep radiant heat. If that's what you're looking for, you're going to need our Barcoal technology. Let's look at it. The big difference between the R1 and the others is that the R1 doesn't have Barcoal. So flames give you light, and they can make you warm in mild weather. But when it gets cold, windy, or wet, Barcol radiant heaters like these are what you need to stay warm. That's why the R3, what we're looking at here, and the R4 belong in a completely different category from the R1. So the R3 came from one request we heard over and over. I want the R4, but smaller, lighter, and less expensive. And that's exactly what it is. It's about half the size of the R4 and a lot more packable. You get a good amount of heat, and it's $600 less than the R4, so it really helps with the budget. That said, we made some deliberate trade-offs to shrink our Barcol technology and make it less expensive to manufacture. The whole purpose of the R3 campfire is that this is your 3-season campfire. So it's really good into the shoulder seasons, early spring, late fall, and nights down into the 20s. So if you're gonna bring your 20-degree sleeping bag with you, this is the campfire that I would recommend. The reason people buy it is kind of twofold. One is it packs down super tight, and it punches up with really big heat. So let's get that clock back up here and see how fast I can set this thing up. You guys ready? Okay. So we're gonna first start by opening up the gull wing folding legs, really similar to the R1. We've got those open. Now we're gonna set it on a flat surface, and we're gonna pull our dust cap. Let me get our hose here and take that same quick connect. Get it on there, one-hand operation again, checking that it's tight. And then the last thing, is light it. So give it a little bit of fuel, light it up, and now we can hear, I don't know if you got that, if you can hear that, we have the Barcol roaring just a little bit in addition to the flame. So you get a little hiss with the flame, a little bit more of a roar with the Barcol. And it's gonna take about 3 minutes to get that Barcol all the way up to temperature. So on the R3, it doesn't glow super, super bright. It's running at about 1100 degrees. On the R4, it runs at 1300 degrees, and you're gonna see a lot more glow out of that Barcol. Now that doesn't mean that the IR light isn't working. So with the R3, you're still gonna feel a tremendous amount of heat. 1100 degrees is 300 degrees hotter than what the R1 is giving you. It'll dimly glow orange, but it's gonna be glowing really brightly in the infrared spectrum. And that infrared light is what makes your body warm. So let's give this a minute or two and let it get to temperature. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes and we are at full temperature. Now there's one thing that really surprises people on all of our campfires, but especially the R3 and the R4. So this thing is cranking out heat right now. The Barcols are glowing. We have flames all over the place. The handle, you can actually touch it, it's still cool to the touch. And the legs, they remain cool to the touch, as well as the surface below. So that's really important for wildfire safety. We're just keeping the heat off the ground, away from anything that's gonna be flammable, it's gonna catch the forest on fire, and just keeping all that heat up and out, angled at the users. The R3 gives you 6 hours of burn time on a 20-pound tank. Now, a lot of folks ask, hey, can I turn that down to get a little bit more fuel efficiency out of it? And the answer is yes. Now, it wasn't designed for that. It's designed with a single control knob here. So we'll see on the R4, you have a control knob for the flame and for the Barcol individually. But the R3 has just one control knob. So you're turning down not just the flame, but the Barcol. So the Barcol just doesn't work that well on low pressure fuel. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down. Sometimes we get a whistle when the Barcol is running on too low of pressure. And if that happens to you, it's no big. That just tells you, hey, like you've turned it down to where it's working well. Go ahead and turn it back up and you won't have the whistle any longer. So you're getting about 9 hours of burn time per tank on the lowest setting. So let's go ahead and turn it off and we'll get into packing. Okay, I think we're about cool. I can touch the handle, I can touch the legs. So let's get this thing packed up. I'm gonna take off the quick connect hose first, and I'm gonna replace the dust cover, just like that. We're gonna stand it up vertically and fold in the gull wing legs. Now, just like we saw on the R1, we have our strap lock slots on the frame here, and that's for connecting to the tank. We also have our rubberized feet that keep the tank from sliding around against the surface. So bring our tank in, mash it up just like that. Just like we saw with the last one, I'm going to clip in to the strap lock slot here, get it around the tank, and capture this side here. Okay, so we tighten down the strap, and boom, you're ready to put it in the back of your truck. Drive as fast as you want, take corners, do a little rock crawling. This tank is now locked to the R3, and it's really not going anywhere. It can't roll around. You throw some straps through the strap lock slots here on the top of the R3 and buckle those in to the factory tie points of your vehicle, and you're all set. So that's the R3, and you should buy it if you want real radiant heat, You camp through the shoulder seasons, and you care more about price and packability than having independent controls or maximum fuel efficiency. If you want those things, you're gonna want the R4, and that's what we're gonna look at next. As we've learned so far, the R1 has the tallest flame and the most fuel efficiency, but it doesn't have bar coal. The R3 does have bar coals, but it only reaches 1100 degrees, and it doesn't have independent controls. And that brings us to the R4, the HOWL flagship. The R4 is about 200 degrees hotter, it's more fuel efficient, and it's dramatically more adjustable. Let's dive in. People buy the R4 because it's the world's hottest propane fire. It's the only one ever developed for 4-season use, and it's comfortable down into the single digits. If you're bringing the 0-degree sleeping bag, this is the campfire you want. It works in the wildest weather imaginable. Rain, wind, snow, whiteout blizzards, even 120-mile-an-hour winds. This thing stays lit and cranks out heat. So let's get it set up. Can I get that clock going again? All right. So first things first, we'll tip it up on the side and flip out the jackknife folding legs. They're a little bit different than what you saw on the R1 and the R3. They're each one independent. We'll go ahead and stand it up on a flat surface and turn this to you guys so you can see the controls. We're gonna go ahead and pull the dust cap and then take the quick connect hose, one-hand operation, just get that on there, it's nice and tight, and we can turn on the fuel. So I'm gonna light just the A-flame first. Get that on high. And that's what's really cool about the R4, is we have independent controls. So the A-flame has its own knob, and so does the bar coal. So with the bar coal, we'll go ahead and turn that on now, and it's gonna light itself off of the A-flame. So you probably heard that little whoof, and then we're getting kind of a throaty rushing sound. So we're gonna go ahead and let those bar coals heat up and get glowing. That'll take about 3 minutes. Check back with you in a second. Okay, so our bar coals are up to temperature. I am absolutely getting cooked, and let's get this flame all the way up. Okay, there we go. So this is full campfire mode for the R4. We've got all of the flames, all of the bar coal heat, and when we've got everything running like this, we're gonna get 6.5 hours on the tank. That's on the 20-pound tank, just your standard refillable tank. So what's really cool about the R4 is we have 3 different modes. This is campfire mode, everything on. Then we can go ahead and turn off the A-flame, and we just have the bar coal. We call this stargazing mode. So your eyes adjust to the dark, and when you're running it like this, you get 13 hours to the tank. And then alternatively, we can do the same thing, run just the flames, turn off the bar coal. Same idea, now we've got 13 hours of run time per tank. Now, most people are gonna run through these modes kind of in a cycle. So you're gonna start out the night, it's probably not that cold yet, you just want a little bit of light, you run the flames. Then as the temperature drops, you kick on the bar coals, make a little pop there, that's kind of exciting. Running the bar coals, you get that heat, you're getting nice and warm, you're seeing everything around, you're having good conversations with your friends. And then, you know, the night kind of gets a little quiet, maybe you wanna turn things down before you go to bed. So this is just like a wood fire at the end of the night. Your flames die out and you just have that really scorching hot bed of wood coals. So when you run through all 3 of those modes, you're getting about 10 hours on average per tank, and that's plenty to take you through a long weekend. So from here, we're gonna turn it off and let it cool down for a few minutes and get it ready to pack up. I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, we've let this cool for a couple minutes, and I totally forgot to tell you guys when it was burning, but while it's hot, you know, we're still getting a cool handle, we got cool legs. Underneath, the ground stays cool, so we still have that wildfire safety factor. So let's get this thing broken down. We're gonna take the quick connect hose off. We're gonna replace the dust cap just like that, and we'll get it tipped up on side, fold in the legs, and then the same as we saw on the R1 and the R3, we have our strap lock slots, and we have our feet here that are gonna kind of hold the tank in place. So we'll put the fire pit and the tank up together just like that, and let me get my straps. So just like we saw with the R1 and the R3, we're gonna put our strap lock slot on one side and then this side, and now we can go ahead and tighten it down, like to really get that nice and snug. Cool. And same as last time. So you're gonna go ahead and throw this in your truck just like this. The tank doesn't roll around, it's nice and stable, and it's basically using the R4 as a bracket, a steadying bracket. Again, we have our strap lock slots on the top So you can run a ratchet strap through those and then tie those into your vehicle tie points and drive however you like. So if I were you, I would buy the R4 if you camp below freezing, you hate being cold, or you just want to fine-tune your fire throughout the night. Now, let's go into a rapid fire decision guide and make sure you get the right fire for you. I don't think I could properly explain to you guys how freaking hot I am right now, but we're gonna run through this real quick. So, look, if you are mostly summer camping, get the R1. If you're in a small vehicle or you just don't have a lot of cargo space, get the R1. And look, if you're going on trips with long stretches between resupplies, the fuel efficiency of the R1 is insane. Get the R1. Now, if you want one HOWL to take you from the spring to the fall, that's the R3. If you want barcoal technology without the barcoal price, again, that's the R3. And if you want that barcoal heat, but your space is limited, get the R3. Now, if you're regularly camping below freezing, you're gonna want the R4. If you're hunting, you're skiing, you're getting out in real conditions, real cold, get the R4. If you want flames-only campfire plus stargazing mode plus campfire mode, that's the R4. And if you want to buy once and never wonder if you should have gone hotter, get the R4. So there's the final answer. The R1, it's portability and big flames for the warm season. The R3 gives you 3-season heat in a smaller package. And the R4 is the flagship. It's the world's hottest propane fire pit. It gives you heat, efficiency, and total control. And honestly, it's just kind of awesome. Hopefully by now, you know which HOWL fits the way you camp. But whichever one you go with, it's built here in Colorado, and it's gonna help you keep the fire alive, especially as wildfire seasons go longer and burn bans become more common. Again, my name is Alex. I'm one of the founders here at HOWL, and if I missed a question, just leave it in the comments. I'll answer. I really appreciate you guys watching. Keep carrying the fire. Whew! Oh man, I'm hot.